Good morning, I'm just a new member of the WeCycle electric bike scheme, and Paul here is going to tell me a little bit more about that and about the bike that we've got in front of us.
Oh yeah, thanks Jeff. I know you've just joined the scheme, so this is your first ride on the bike. It's a Raleigh Motus electric pedal assisted bike, and I'll go through some of the features of it before you take off on your ride.
Fantastic. Could you tell me first of all, pedal assist, what does that really mean, Paul?
Well, it's an ordinary push bike and you can use it as an ordinary push bike, but it does have an electric motor. So Bosch and Raleigh have got together, and over a couple of years they developed this state-of-the-art bike. It came out in 2015. It's got a power pack at the back,
Yep.
which drives the motor around the pedal hub. So when you're pedaling, you can turn it up on the computer, and that gives you some extra assistance up the hills.
Yep.
So that's how it works. It's
Sounds
not
good.
based on a throttle. It's all based on pedal assistance.
Does it have a gear system as well as the pedal assist?
Yeah, that's very important. So it has got 10 speeds, and you change the gears with the two knobs underneath the handle. So changing down is the main knob, and then if you reach underneath, that's changing up.
Right.
So the 10 gears work very effectively in with the motor, and the computer detects what speed you're going and what gear you're in, and it will change at the appropriate time.
Yeah. What sort of terrain would I be able to use this bike on, Paul?
Well, we're recommending that people use it on the road principally, but it can be used in light off-road riding. So the very comprehensive network of towpaths and bridleways is fine. Obviously, you're not allowed to ride on footpaths, but if the bridleway is well made up, that'll be fine as well.
Yeah. Could you tell me a little bit about the braking system on it, Paul?
Yeah, it's got a very powerful hydraulic braking system, so the pads will be checked on a regular basis by the Alternative Technology Centre, but they shouldn't wear down too quickly. It's great on the hills around here.
Very secure for the hills around here. That's great, that's good to know. Also, if I was out on an evening, say I've been to the local picture house, would I be okay using it at night?
Yeah, it's got an independent system of lights, so the front and rear lights will work on a dynamo, so they're not draining the battery, and the switch for the front and rear lights is at the back of the front light.
Yeah.
So just make sure you flick it on if you're coming back and the light's a bit dim.
Okay, thank you very much.
I can see we've got a very comfortable looking saddle there, Paul, but it looks a little bit low for me. How could I deal with that?
Yeah, it is a comfortable saddle. It's gel filled, but you will find you need to adjust the height of the saddle when you hire. So it's very easy, quick release for the saddle, and just shift it up or down according to the height you need. We recommend that you have it with almost a straight leg when the pedal's at its lowest and you're sat on the seat.
And how about the suspension at the front? You were saying earlier, Paul, that we wouldn't use it for any heavy off-road use, but I can see it's got a front suspension fork.
It does. It has hydraulic suspension, which is good for cobbles and potholes if you're on a light off-road conditions. So all you need to do if you're on the road is to move it from the fully working hydraulic suspension to lock it for a firmer ride on the road. Just flick the blue switch.
Paul, I wonder if you could tell me how straightforward is it to use the pedal assist and the gear system of the bicycle?
Right, Jeff, well, we've got a very straightforward and clear computer readout, so that while you're riding along you can see how much battery's left, the amount of assistance you're getting, and the speed that you're going, and various other readouts including the time. And if we move over here, right next to the handle, so you don't have to lift your hand off, is a plus and minus, which allows you to increase and decrease the amount of assistance you get from the motor. If we come back here, it does read off at the moment, but if I increase the amount of assistance, you can go right up the 4 levels to turbo, which will give you a maximum amount of motor assistance while you're pedaling. It's important to remember though that you still have the 10 speeds, so the gears are very important to use in the way you would normally use a push bike. So if we want to move down a gear, it's the main lever at the top. Up a gear, you push the smaller lever underneath the handle, and that'll shift you up. And it tells you exactly what level of gear you're on at the readout here. So a combination of getting the right gear before you go up a steep hill, but also giving yourself as much assistance as you need. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. Okay, there are one or two other features. There's a really good sturdy kickstand for standing the bike up, and if you do leave the bike for any amount of time, we recommend that you use the key. There's a unique key for each bike, and each bike has a name. So this one's called Jude. Jude's key fits into a rear wheel lock. So by turning that and shifting down a knob on the other side, you can push a bolt between the spokes and the wheel, and that'll stop it getting wheeled away. To release it, all you need to do is put the key back in and turn it a quarter turn, and it'll release it. The same key fits in the battery pack, and by turning that a quarter turn to the left, you can then release the battery. And it's really important to have the key turned to the same position before you replace the battery. And that'll just slide in, and then you can turn to lock a quarter turn to the right. Okay, just a few words about the tyre pressure. There is a little pump in case you lose a bit of tyre pressure that fits on two studs below the back rack of the bike. So if you find your tyres are a bit low, take the pump off, and you'll find that there are some pretty usual for a road bike. There's some Presta valves attached to the tyre, the inner tube, and if you take the cap off, you'll notice, as with all Presta valves, there's a little screw, and you need to unscrew that and give it a little tap. There should be a hiss, and then you know it's ready to attach the pump. Attach the pump just by pushing. There might be a little bit of a hiss, and then you can give it a few pumps, should inflate it quite quickly, and then pull it straight off. And don't forget to screw up the screw before you put the cap back on, and you should be ready to go.